Welcome y'all to a new Waterwave TV interview. Today we got Chris and Isaiah from Design in the building. Today we're going to learn about how they started, what they're doing, how they got to where they are, and what they got coming up next. But first, you know how we do it. We got to run that intro.
And while you at it peeping this shit, go ahead to youtube.com/Waterwave TV and subscribe to that shit. Yeah, you know the waves in it. Baseball, we're hitting a home run, hit it with the coldest rains. And even on my bad days, I'm a clutch to finish. The track diminished, the booth burnt, hands is itching. Damn.
What a wonderful song, man. What a great intro. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing pretty good.
You're doing good. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm dope.
Thanks.
I feel like we've been planning this one, not necessarily planning it, but it's been meaning to happen for a while.
Yeah.
I've known Chris for a long time, almost probably around since I first started Waterwave and like the back in the Mankato days and whatnot, bumping into you back there. But Design, the clothing brand, probably even a little bit bigger than a clothing brand. I feel like you kind of built your brand name to be even more than just the t-shirts, just the clothes and whatnot. But let's go get into kind of like you guys personally before we drop into the brand. Where are you guys from? Maybe we'll start with Chris. Where are you from? Where you grew up, and kind of how what it was like living there.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Frogtown in St. Paul, Minnesota. Grew up around there. Went to high school in Woodbury after moving from St. Paul. Then moved back to St. Paul. Went to St. Paul Central. Went out to Cali a little bit, played some football, and then living in LA is really what awoke me with fashion and stuff like that. I wanted to come back and like really stamp my mark, in Minnesota. So I came back and started design actually with my old business partner, Gozi Kaga. I'm not sure if you know him.
Yeah, I've heard some of his music.
I'm pretty sure you know actually from music.
Yeah.
So yeah, but now I'm doing it all by myself now. It's been going really well. I just like bringing the community together, whether it's like events or nice clothes. It's always good to be able to make something that people actually want and like enjoy rather than just, I got clothes. It's like more of like a vision that people can see.
Facts. What about Isaiah? Where'd you grow up at?
It's the same story. I actually grew up in Shakopee.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't tell too many people I grew up in Shakopee because they're like, oh, what's in Shakopee? But I grew up in Shakopee, based in the Twin Cities. Same story. Kind of got into fashion, did photography for a little bit. Then quickly, did like creative directing. And I've been traveling, doing things in Minnesota, Cali, Miami. And I was actually chilling in Miami. And I was sitting at a table just like this, talking to the town out there. And they were talking about the projects that they've been working on. And they were just like, yeah, we did American Eagle, we did so-and-so. It got to me, they were just like, what's going on in Minnesota? And I was like, shit, we got Fashion Week coming up. And it was just like that. I mean, Chris felt the same way. He lit a fire under my butt. We got together and started really just trying to bring the community together, put something big, and kind of just like hopefully tie y'all in and do something big.
Fashion Week, it's coming up or it already happened?
No, Fashion Week is here. Fashion Week is here right now.
Yeah.
Like currently?
Yeah.
Because I'm not too far out of the fashion game because I understand like I guess like nationwide like fashion, but like I guess like Minnesota fashion I might be lacking a little bit on like fashion weeks and even like New York Fashion Week or whatever. Like wasn't that going on like this past weekend or something? Like I seen some pictures of it and whatnot. So is that something that you guys are involved in right now or are you trying to be involved in with Minnesota Fashion Week?
Oh, well, actually, I'm pretty sure he's done some shows with them. My first show with them actually was in April. I did like their little Luxe streetwear kind of show. That was my first show, and then I did a second one, and now I just really see myself, kind of excelling. So like I wanted to do my own thing, but I wanted to find the right producer, and then that's where I found Isaiah from one of the shows I actually was attending.
Okay.
And then we kind of connected.
It's been the same move. I mean, Fashion Week and just all fashion producers in the state and just creatives really just want to put the team on, put the city on, and really lay that platform so people who have big talent can really showcase what they do. And I've been super grateful for them for putting on their shows, and I met Chris through their shows. And I think because of kind of stuff they taught us, their like mentorship, what they've done, we're able to do something in October and really do our part to really put the city on, put the community on, and showcase the talent in the city. And I think that's just the mission for this whole Twin Cities and as a whole.
So you mentioned you have an event in October. What's that all about?
So October 20th, we have a fashion station at the Union Depot. It's going to be October 20th, 6 p.m. to 11. We're going to have a lot of local brands as well as like even some malls we're speaking with that want to be a part of the show. So it's going to be a pretty big event. It's more than just like the local brands. It's actually kind of showcasing like different tiers of fashion in Minnesota because there's a lot of talented people. Like I see new brands, new music, like artists, like painters, people that do drawings. Like I just started to like find a bunch of these people, which is kind of weird because it's like Minnesota isn't like the biggest state, but like there's like a big number of talented people.
Yeah.
And like hopefully this show, like we can show people like our vision and where we're trying to get, because this is like the perfect event to get like a photographer, models, people, kind of like underground people, and kind of bring them to the light, you know. Because I think that's the one thing Minnesota is kind of lacking on is like teamwork. You know, like there's a lot of people out here, but everybody wants to be, you know, number one, which is like, that's cool, but at the same time, you can be a number one, you can be a two, you can be a three, you can have a whole team, you know. Everyone could be number one. It's just we gotta each like push each other's agenda, you know. And I feel like that's how we'll grow, because you go to like Atlanta, stuff like that, LA, like they have big groups of people, you know. Even the best people still work with, you know, people that aren't at their level yet because they see the potential, you know. So that's just all we're trying to do. We're trying to just find the talent and really like help them get exposure and grow.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is with music too. And I feel like in Minnesota, I mean, every state and every region kind of has what they're known for, where you go to do certain things. Like you could say Minnesota, and like even the Midwest is like people go here for farming, and you know, like if we're breaking it down from real, like what people do around here, it's farmland, it's animal, you know, like all this type of stuff. So it's like clothing and designing, and even like I shouldn't say music. Minnesota has a lot of pop and music genres, but I'd say like hip hop, for example, isn't super popular in the state of Minnesota as much as other genres are. And it becomes like a cutthroat scene where people are trying to say they're better than someone else, be better than someone else, and whatever it may be. When in reality, like how many artists are on your playlist today, and how many artists are in your likes list? That it's like there can be a top 100 artists in Minnesota that all have a buzz, and they don't have to be like fighting for who's the top one, because everybody can listen. Same thing with like designers and clothing brands. Like not everyone's only wearing one brand on their chest. It's like you don't have to worry about who is the best, but just let everybody flourish, because people aren't going to wear the same brand wherever they go unless they're getting paid to. It's just not how it works. I wear different brands almost every day.
100%.
So it's like
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like the same thing. At these fashion weeks, is there like a sense of competition? Like, is it like, because it's multiple brands kind of all showing their thing? Is there like, I'm sure there's probably at least like that one brand that thinks that that's a little stuck up or whatever. Is it almost like a competition, or is it just just a showcase? Each brand kind of takes their own WRL at the end of the day. It's not like a who won the event. How does that work?
I mean, I think that's like the best thing about the fashion scene here, because when you go to New York or those like bigger markets, you kind of hear like the marquee brands. Then when it comes to smaller brands, you don't really hear about them too much. But I think what we've been able to do and been a part of, and what Fashion Week's doing, and like all the creative producers are doing, is able to really showcase a lot of different talent. Like there's plenty of food to go around. We can all eat at the same table.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you see a lot of these fashion shows, is plenty brands who are starting, who have been here, who are huge, being able to come together and really showcase the Minnesota talent globally. And I think if we just like continue to do stuff like that, we could easily be, you know, top dog, New York, Miami, and really like showcase what we got here. And I think that's been my experience in just like the fashion scene here, just being able to really showcase talent and provide that platform, and just help everybody grow.
What do you think would be like the turning point to make, let's just say, the Twin Cities or Minneapolis, since that's like the biggest name in Minnesota, be like a hub for like design? Like, you know, everyone knows New York has fashion or whatever. Like it's like a big thing. Like, does it take like that one clothing brand or like that one person to kind of like become like, let's say, the next Virgil, or even on a smaller scale of like the next like Desto Dub for like a streetwear, you know, to really be like everybody knows you around the country that's in the scene. Like for people to come to a Minneapolis or Minnesota Fashion Week, and just like they would a New York one, and you know flex that they're here. You know, like what do you think is like that step, or what's the missing piece, and why we're not as big as that as of now?
So I would say honestly, it's kind of like people just need to get out their comfort zone a little bit. How you're just saying like people think they're competing when in reality everyone's on their own pace.
Yeah.
You know, one of us could blow up 5 years, the other one can blow up in today. You know, there's no time in it. And what I think needs to happen is like a lot of the creatives need to like come together and support each other. Because like I was just saying, you go to these bigger cities, they all go to each other's events. You know, which is really crazy to me, because you would think Minnesota would be doing that, but it's like it's open game here. There's no, like you were saying, there's no Virgil,
Mm-hmm.
there's no Nike or Adidas or something. Like it's kind of open, and there's a lot of brands that like think they can do it like by themselves, but they gotta understand like you need a community. You need to actually give back. You need to make something that brings everybody together. You know, so I think for that to happen, where we turn into the New York or like a Miami type fashion. I feel like we're right around the corner, honestly. I just think we need like an event that kind of like solidifies everything, where there's like celebs flying in or something. Because we just had the MLS. There's like a fashion,
All-Star game was
All-Star
here.
game was here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, like stuff like that. Like if we could
Capitalize on those weekends.
exactly,
Yeah.
bro. Because like if we can just really sell like a big event, people are gonna hear about it, and there's gonna be even more people wanting to be a part of it, fly in. So that's exactly what we're starting up. This show is gonna set up all that for us, and also to like help people expand their brands as well. Because like I do design, but it's like I've been doing it for so long. I'm pretty confident what I'm doing. You know? Like the next step is kind of just finding like hidden gems, stuff like that.
That's exactly it. I think when we talk about putting this city on, I think we need to value the community as much as they value us. And when you really have a strong community behind you, when the culture is really about like, let's push this forward, because once one person eats, we all eat. I mean, you're unstoppable. If we all rally behind Fashion Station or the All-Star Fashion Week, that would be blown up everywhere. Like you hear about New York, and it's like hashtag New York Fashion Week on TikTok. You got people from 12 to 50 years old posting it because they really have a good community behind them. And New York really wants to push that community forward. And I think that's why we're just so close. I think people are finally starting to get to the place where it's just like, I have this platform, you have this platform, let's combine forces. Or they have this platform, let's like link with them, let's collab with them. I think that's just, it's definitely up and coming for sure.
Yeah, I think it is like our generation of like creators are starting to grow up too.
Exactly.
So it's like like when we're like like when you first started trying to do something creative for the first time, when you were probably a teenager and whatnot, like you were really lost. You thought you knew what you were doing. You thought everyone should be paying attention to what you were doing because you thought it was good.
Special,
but then 6-7 years later, you're like, damn, like what I was doing then is like what I look at what some people are starting now, and I'm like, oh, you got a long way to go.
Exactly.
Like, so it's like now that we're growing, like some of us eventually are going to be in like our 10th year of pushing what we're doing. And that's where it really comes down to like you should, as long as you weren't slacking and being lazy, you'll know a lot of shit in that 10 years to be able to be like, all right, like I know what I need to do to be successful. Can I do it? Like whether it's I need this amount of money to be able to promote what I'm doing or be able to produce what I'm doing, or it's like I should have been networking, so I have all these people I know that where I don't even have to spend any money and they'll just like fuck with me. So I think us growing, and there's a lot of other brands out here too, like that are basically just maturing and becoming themselves. Like I'd say like the Skin Tones brand has been really professional with the way that they've been moving and whatnot, and just a bunch of other like creative collectives like that. But I think like they're a good example of like people that have just been growing, doing their own creative thing, and then now they came together to be like, hey, let's push a motive, exactly like you guys were saying. And everyone has to kind of realize at some point that not everyone is just gonna like post you 24/7. Like they're not like, even like your closest friends, people that you think at least are your closest friends, they're not gonna like just every single day like repost your shit, go follow them, go tap them with them, because they got their own life. Everyone's getting older, starting to get married, have kids, whatever it may be, right? You know what I mean? Like so like really you kind of have to like realize that, and even if like they're not in that realm, if they're in your own industry, like they got their own brand to worry about. Like not everyone can just support you, so you have to kind of build that team to like be your support team at the end of the day. Like whether or not they have equity in your business or not, but like you include them in on projects, you include them in on this. Maybe they're your cameraman, or they're your model, or they're your marketing director, like whatever it may be. Like you kind of have to like build up your own team, because we're past the high school days of everyone in your school is just fucking with you because they see you every day. So it's like
same with college too. Like you gotta adapt. Like I had really adapted from Mankato because like I really blew up out there and just kind of brought it out here, and I gave people a reason to like fuck with it, just like you were saying, just because they're your best friend or your sibling or something, there's not a way they can always post for you, so you gotta actually make clothes and stuff for people to post every day because they love it. You gotta sell that to people. It's more than just the clothes, it's like value. And I'm starting to see a lot more brands understand that, rather than just just print and press this shirt, like make like a following behind there, like an image or a saying or something. You gotta really be catchy because that's how you like separate yourself from like a beginner to someone that's experienced, like the way you're moving. So I've definitely learned a lot too. So that's why I'm more willing to work with people now, because like before I was just used to like always doing everything by myself, obviously other than my business partner at the time. So it's like it's a good way to definitely start things off. And things are looking really good. So like if we can just have everybody like you said, support doesn't even mean buying something. It could be as little as, oh yeah, there's this fashion show.
Spreading the word.
You know, spread the word. You know?
Plenty of people may repost, let's say, the new Off-White Forces that are coming out, but they ain't gonna buy them.
Hell no.
Facts.
They ain't gonna repost them because they're gonna be like, damn, these are fire. They ain't gonna buy them.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you want to tilt your mic up a little bit like this, it might just be a little bit easier on you. You don't have to bend over as much.
Like this?
Yeah, because then you're just talking to the top, so you're not like,
Okay.
just to make it a little more comfortable on you. But let's get into like the story of design. Now we kind of chopped it up about like the fashion game out here. What year did you like start design, and why? And did you know you wanted to make a clothing brand, or was it like, how did you come up with the idea?
Yeah, so originally, I just wanted to get into fashion. I just wanted to find somewhere where I would fit in, you know. So like, I wasn't ever like super creative with drawing or anything, but I always been obsessed with like shoes and like just clothes in general, you know. Because when I was younger, you know, I couldn't really afford like all the clothes I wanted, so I just told myself, all right, I'm gonna make my own. But I actually started a business before I started design. It was OG Kicks. So like I was reselling custom made shoes and stuff, and that's where I got the idea. And I was just thinking to myself, you know, I'm selling J's, Adidas, or whatever that are customized Yeezys, and I'm just thinking, I don't own this. You know what I'm saying? This is other people's branding, which there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I wanted something that was for me, you know? So I came together with my friend Gozy. We came up with the idea of design, you know? And we just took off from there. You know, we ordered samples. I got a lot of people involved, showed people my prototypes and whatnot. And it just went well, like, from the get-go. So I actually started with real streetwear. Like, I had, like, bomber jacks, like, windbreakers, obviously the regular T-shirt. This is actually, like, a drop from, like, my first ever collection. So it's pretty dope to still have some of my clothes, like, almost 4 years later and, like, still be in, like, good condition. And I see people still wear it from, like, 4 years ago. So it's just, like,
It didn't peel off and wrinkle
Clothes
away.
hold up.
You
Yeah,
know,
clothes hold up.
Because I really took my time. I spent thousands of dollars on like samples. I didn't really know how expensive things were going to be until like I really started. But then I started adapting, understanding who to work with and what not to work with. And I really thank the people in Mankato, honestly, because without them, you know, first getting the word out, a lot of people wouldn't have been so familiar with it before I even came back to the cities. You know, so that really helped me out. I'm blessed for everyone that's ever like helped me and like just got the word out there. And Isaiah, even like, he's the one that like I've always known about fashion, but it's like you have to always link up with someone because they're gonna know something you don't know. You know, so he's kind of like opened my mind a little bit more with like the fashion side of things, because I just thought it's like, oh, you just set up an event, rent out a venue, and just do things. It is not nearly half of what I thought before. So this is a good experience too. And obviously with design, it's just crazy how many like people I have every week. Like I have people from Australia, Saudi Arabia, Canada that have all bought stuff for me. And like I don't run ads. Like I just started running ads because I'm kind of newer into the marketing. I've done a lot of test runs and stuff, but I've never like really focused on the ad part because I just focused on real people more. You know, and a lot of people like that have a clothing brand and stuff should understand that part, because I have a lot of people that ask me questions like, oh, how are you so successful, or your stuff's blowing up? And it's just like, you got to understand business with anything before you go do it. You can't just say, all right, I'm going to be a designer one day, or I'm going to be a producer or photographer. Nah, you got to build a blueprint on how to get there first. And I feel like you're saying, people are maturing more because they're getting older and they're starting to, you know, realize, because the stuff that wasn't working before, you know, like, and like you said, you got to build your own team. You can't like just go on the street and be like, oh yeah, you should work for me. You got to give people a reason, you know, and you also got to make them believe in what you're doing. You know, people can tell what's fake and what's real. I don't think some people really understand that, but there's a difference, like, between something that's authentic and someone that's just copying other people,
Mm-hmm.
looking for the quick check. There's no quick check in artistry, none of that. Like, I know people see some of these people blowing up in music even too, you know, and they get the wrong idea. Like, those are people from big cities too, so they got a big following behind them. Our city, like, or I should say our state, is pretty big, but I don't think everyone's tuned in. We haven't gave them a reason to really tune in.
Yeah.
You know, even with my brand, I have a lot of people like from out here supporting. But honestly, I can really say this year, most of the people that bought design aren't even from Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw that, that's kind of where I kind of saw a little disconnect, because it's like we still have so many people here.
Mm-hmm.
People are always in the cities. What they say, like 80 to 70% of people in Minnesota live in the Twin Cities.
Damn.
So you got to think about that for a second. We have 5 to 6 million people here, and a good majority of them are around the Twin Cities. So like, where is everybody then?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, that's why we're trying to do this, so we can really tap into that network and get everybody together.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, I'm not saying like the other brands or the other fashion people are being like, what's the word, like political or something, but you can kind of see the clickiness a little bit. You know, like, oh well, this person has nice stuff, but they're not in our friend group. You know what I mean? So it's just like, oh, we're not gonna support them. Like me, I've bought a lot of designer stuff, and I don't think they even know who I am. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's funny too, because some of the people don't even realize who they're talking to, you know, or who they're working with, until maybe it's like too far down the line, and you're like, oh, like, you know, it's kind of too late for that. You know, that's why I want people to understand, always work with somebody, because you do not know where they're going to be, and don't ever downplay somebody.
Yeah.
That could be like, whether it's music, the next Lil Baby or some shit, or like with clothes, the next Virgil or something. Like, you never know who's in front of you. So I just want people to be more aware, because like I said, there's a lot of people out here.
Yeah. That's another thing I'd say like the fashion game is very similar to like the rap game out here.
I think it's the same.
Of where there's a lot of creators, a lot of people doing their thing, but then, you know, if you're not a part of your clique or whatever, you don't support them, or like the whole, like the wide range of like who actually lives in the Twin Cities, and like who are they listening to rap, or are they buying streetwear, like what is going on. But when it comes down to it, you see all these like let's say like a shop like us, like we sell Supreme, Bape, you know, whatever, Nikes, Jordans, Yeezys, all that type of stuff, and it sells well in here. So it's like, and even like, you know, the stores like Urban Jungle and Third Degree Heat and Piff, and like the streetwear fan base is here. Like, people are buying this shit. So how do we turn them into buying our shit?
You get what I'm saying?
You know,
exactly.
Same with music. How do we? They're streaming the Lil Babies, the Chief Keefs, the Lil Durks, the whoever in the hip hop game. They're selling out the Armory when they come here. They're selling out US Bank Stadium when they come here, wherever it may be, like any venue. All the rappers are coming to our city, selling out our venues. When we can't get a couple hundred people to show up to like some rap shows out here that are like people that are on the rise in Minnesota that make just as good music as these famous people that you're listening, if not better.
Or better.
Yeah, so it's like that disconnect, and a lot of it comes with obviously like you know, all these rappers that do these things, all these brands that do these things have a lot of money, and at the end of the day, like, if people don't know your brand people don't know your brand exists, they can't buy your product. Same with music. If they don't know your music has been released, if they don't know what you are making, they can't listen. So it comes down to like, all right, do you have a $50,000 budget to promote your album, to make sure every single person that has an Instagram in Minnesota sees that you dropped a song, so they have a chance to at least stream it? Same with like the clothing. Like, do you have a huge budget to make sure everyone at least sees that you dropped this stuff, and a chance for them to like be like, oh, I would buy that. So it's like, it's almost like that disconnect of, it's not so popular out here yet that people, that the average Minnesota citizen does not know that they could like just do a little bit of digging for a weekend or a week and find 50 brands they may love. And it's almost like, how do you gain that traction? You know, that's the tough part. But I think like with the Minnesota Fashion Week, the more it grows, the more people that are just going to be like, oh, Minnesota has fashion designers. Like, some people probably still don't even know that there's a rapper in Minnesota. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's like a real disconnect from some people that are in like these not even, I'd say suburban cities probably know, but like these random cities, like anywhere in between here in Mankato, you may find people that'd be like, oh, there's a rapper in Minnesota. Like, they wouldn't even know. Like, they would have no clue. Oh, there's someone that has a clothing brand out here. Like, oh, that's crazy. How did they make that happen? like some people are still amused and astounded when they see like like, oh dang, your music's on Spotify, like it ain't like you don't just got to pay $10 a month for that to happen. You know, like there's still a huge disconnect, and I think Minnesota overall is just like a little behind on the creative, like streetwear, rap, like having fun scene. But that's why I think our generation is going to be the one to kind of like connect a lot of people back in with that. So how did you come up with the name Design, and why like the dashes in between? Like what was like the full meaning behind that?
So actually, me and my business partner, Gozy at the time, we were like going through a branch of names, you know, and he said Design, you know, and that just hit my ear, and I was just like, you know, that's a good way to start, but we need to make it somewhat different, not just the word design.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, did you have to like try to jump through a hoop or like legality? Because I'm sure there's got to be like someone that owns like Design LLC.
Actually,
no,
exactly. Literally, no. There actually isn't anybody.
There wasn't.
There wasn't. No. So that was kind of crazy because I looked it up before I even made the LLC and stuff. And I was just like, all right, that's cool, but I don't want to just Design LLC. You know, I wanted to put it like symbolism behind it. You know, so people are like, oh, that's Design, but Design with the dashes. You know, like that's my way of saying it. You know, so at first, that's how it started, and then like. From there, I just wanted to start out with like just kind of basic entry level, like streetwear stuff. So yeah, that's how I came up with it. It's pretty dope.
Did like there isn't like an actual meaning behind every letter. It's just the dashes. Just the
dashes to make it look different. You know?
So you're not just writing design on something. Like I think like there's a lot of brands that may like switch one letter out to make it look different or do this and that. So it's not just like the normal word. So you're a little like original with it, which I think definitely helps because you'll stand out differently than someone that, because obviously in the clothing game you can't crack down on everybody that may be copying something. Like there's a million people making fake Yeezys out there and whatnot. So it's like, if your brand was just the word design, you know how many people probably will make a shirt that just says design.
You know what I'm saying?
Whether it's a high school kid just starting up or it's someone that's just trying to make something and sell it on Amazon or whatever it may be. Like, so I think adding that kind of adds a little originality to it. We were talking about like support. I see on your Instagram you've been selling a lot to at least appealing to a lot of females.
Exactly.
On your Instagram. They've been posting, doing the collab posts with y'all. What is your main marketing strategy behind your brand? Because I see that works. I think when some girls see another girl looking good in some like workout fit, maybe they just finished their workout and they see like, oh dang, that looks like it's a good material and whatnot, and they can see, oh, it's half the price of the Nike suit that I was gonna buy. Like, exactly. So like, what is like your main marketing strategy behind your brand?
So my main marketing strategy is obviously the community, because I have a group chat of over like 100, like 200 people. So that's really what I sell, is kind of the community and just like the high quality clothes with the pricing. Because like if you look at gym stuff, go get a pair of leggings. It's $50. So you go on someone's website, they damn near only gonna get 2 items for over $100. Like $100 might not be a lot of money to somebody, but somebody that's always budgeting, working the business, that's a lot of money, you know? So like I want to be the person that is always making high quality stuff for half the price. Like what you would get somewhere else, just because I'm confident what I'm doing. And to be honest, like I really see design how I kind of saw like Lululemon when I was a kid. Did y'all know they made men's stuff in high school? I just thought it was, the ladies and the leggings.
I tried it. I definitely,
I definitely didn't know too much. It was definitely like, if you were gonna buy the stuff, it would be like super tight or super short.
Exactly.
So it'd be like almost like you
3-inch inseams.
Yeah, like just tiny tight shit, which wasn't fully in style.
It was still baggy stuff.
I was ahead of my time. It's whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So like, it's like kind of crazy though to see that. Oh, you just make women's clothes, and I'm just like, that's hilarious. Because when I first started, it was all men, literally all dudes. Like,
when I first heard of your brand, it was all guys that were pushing it and wearing it, and then you started coming out with like the female workout gear or like under gear, and then that seemed to be like getting really popular with the females, which maybe some of the females just like to support more than the guys, because the guys feel a little more animosity towards another guy getting to his bag.
Like it's because the ego with the guys. Honestly, like with the girls, they're so much more supportive, but at the same time, you just got to give a guy a bigger reason. You know what I'm saying? Like why to support. But at the same time, the way things have been going, that's just kind of how I see myself. I see myself how I see Lululemon. It's like you look at a brand and like your illusion is whatever you create. So like that's what art is, Like, you can sell this water wave painting. Like, say you're a famous, artist or something, and you wrote like something on there with water wave, and you auction it. Like I said, say you're a big designer or artist, and you sell it. You probably could sell it for $50K. Like, if you're one of the world's top, just because people like your work. That's why I say art is your illusions, because an illusion can take you like somewhere where you're visualizing what they're trying to put out. That's when people really can make the connect with artistry. Like, I don't just buy stuff just to buy it. Like, I buy what I like. So it's kind of cool to see people be like, oh, so you're just women like now, and it's like, that's what I like, because then it's like people are trying to put a word on what you're doing, and that's good, because that's showing progress. People are actually just generally confused, because like you said, you got to be out there, and the average person's got to see something 8 times before they buy it. Yeah. So it's like, if you don't know that simple marketing, you're gonna have a long day.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, people having a perception of your brand is a huge thing. Like,
Definitely subjective.
People or like once like people start getting mad that, like, I guess I'll just use our brand for example, getting mad that we're not talking about them on our page, like a music artist or whatever. It's like, damn, like, our opinion matters now, or your brand matters, because now people have an opinion on what you're doing. You know what I mean? So it's like you're in people's brains, basically. You know what I mean? Like you're I forget what the saying is, but it's like, basically, when people think about clothing, or when they think about women's apparel, your brand may pop in their brain now. So it's like, it worked. What you did has worked to some sense, to where they're familiar with your brand, whether or not it's the way you intended, but they know about it. Like, as long as it's not a negative connotation, then it's a W. A question I have kind of for both of y'all is, what defines success for you? Like, for like the end of the day, like, to be a successful clothing brand owner, fashion designer, curator, whatever it is, like, what defines like success for you, to like what you want to actually be happy and be successful, I guess.
I mean, success, I think as I grew up, success has changed a lot. I think way back when I was like, damn, I need like 10 pairs of J's, I need 10 pair of Yeezys, and yet now I'm balling. But now I'm just like happy to wake up and doing what I love. I think we started doing a 9-to-5 job and just like chilling, and the whole time I'm working in this 9-to-5 job, I'm like, dang, like, I'm not doing anything that matters. And I'm not passionate about anything I'm doing. And being able to switch from that to like creatively, and I'm like, dang, this is exactly what I want to be doing. And just making money, making millions, having a community behind us is icing on the cake. And I think as I've grown up, success is just being able to do what you love every single day, getting excited about waking up, doing what you got to do. That's probably the best thing in the world.
Thanks.
And for me, like, another way of successful is just being able to do what you love for the rest of your life. Like, you don't have to be a billionaire. Like, as long as you're making something that's sustainable for your life, and you can do, like I said, you can do it for the rest of your life. That's what I think successful is. Being able to break out of that corporate America 9-to-5, and be able to do something you created or you're working on with your people, and also not just making the money off the people, actually giving people something of value. So when they go out walking around, they feel confident. People are like, oh, what's that? Or what music is that? Or stuff like that.
Facts. I remember, just like a little side note, I guess. I think I did a vlog at Mankato, like one of the they always do the College Town homecoming party. It was like the 2019 one, probably like one of the super cold year. I think it might have been the one that was
the snowing. Right?
I think it was the snowing one, because I think that might have been the only one I vlogged. One of the two, either the one before that or that one. And I think it was like the first house I walked in, someone was like, hey, Waterway, what's good? Shout out my guy Chris from design. Like, it was like instant, like one of the first like things. So I was like, damn, this was like 3-4 years ago, and I think he had a design shirt on and everything. So I was like, damn, like from that moment I was like, damn, he's like, you're making a good move. You went to college at Mankato, or you just lived in Mankato?
Yeah, so I actually went to school because I was transferring from Santa Monica College at the time, and I was gonna go to MSU, but then I saw the pricing, and I was gonna play football too. So like, I talked to some of the coaches, but then it's just like, do I really want to give up what I, kind of just started versus going to listen to somebody every day, wake up at 6 a.m., do this practicing? So I just went to South Central College instead. Yeah. And that's actually where one of the reasons why I started doing this, because it's like, I'll never forget her name. Her name was Roberta Morehouse, and I was a marketing major, and it was her final year teaching, and I was just telling her about my business, and in the beginning of the year, that's when I started my shoe brand. Obviously, it didn't pan out the way I wanted it. But then I remember I told her my second business idea, you know, and that was design.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget, it was like one of the last days in class. And I was just showing her everything, my website, my business cards. And she was really shook and astonished, you know. And she was just like having a discussion about marketing. And, you know, usually in class, some people aren't paying attention or don't really give a shit. And I was probably one of those people because I was just like listening or whatever. But then she said something like that really just like took off because we were doing a research paper on like Best Buy, Target, how they do their marketing, how they make sales. And I remember she had a question talking about like tracking people's IP addresses and like how to run ads and stuff. And she went through the whole spiel, and like I was the only person asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
And there's at least 40 people in this class.
Mm-hmm.
So literally for 10 minutes straight, it's like she was teaching the class, but I thought she's only talking to me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it hit. And the final word she said is like, yeah, Chris, you can do this too, you know, if you really like put the effort and try. Like, I really can see you doing this. And she said that in front of everyone. So it's just like kind of crazy that sometimes it takes somebody to kind of like give you the extra push. Because before I wasn't pushing it as much. Like I was just kind of doing the basic whatever. But that lit a fire under me, you know, and I dropped out of school the next semester.
Shit.
Literally. So just started putting all my focus on this because I looked at school as you should go to school if you have an idea of something and you want to see what fits for you or what can work for you in the future.
Yeah.
If you have an idea and you actually know business, this I'm not telling people to drop out or nothing, but if you,
It's a new world.
Exactly what you're saying.
you never know, because if you're doing it the right way and you're seeing real numbers, like, you know, I'm not just saying like, oh, I sold like 100 shirts this year, like, you know, I'm gonna blow up. No, like, you gotta be consistent, see the numbers, and actually be like, yo, I'm making as much as if I had a degree, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Experience
what?
Without the debt.
And even if it's not all profit,
Yeah.
bro, I just touched that number. Like, that's crazy to think about, you know? So, like, if you can do it like that and, like, see the difference, then I would say school isn't a good fit for everybody. But I would say it's still a good fit to start. I'm not saying, like, you got to finish. Still go to school to get an idea, because that's what I did. You know, that's how I knew the marketing and took off with my business. So school is just really dependent on the person.
Yeah.
But I will go back to school and just finish college just because, like, I would love to, like, work for, like, YouTube or something, Facebook, like, do, like, an internship so I can, really work with, like, the bigger brands and, like, see the other thing. Because I will say school is a great connection.
Yeah. And I'd say that's something that kind of puts you ahead of some other people with the willingness to, like, put in a few more hours just because you might be able to meet someone someday that may be able to put your brand in a bigger position, in a better light. But I have a very similar opinion on school. Like, your story is very, like, creepy how similar it is to my story. Like, I was in a class when I was in a business law class because I was a marketing or management major, business administration management major, whatever. And I was in a business law class, and we were doing a project on we were record labels signing artists. So like I was on the side of the classroom where people were the record labels, and the other side of the classroom were the music artists. So we had to find an artist that basically was looking for the same amount of money that we could afford and that we were looking for. And while I was doing that, like it was like just like kind of fun and super simple. And I had a couple friends, Calvino, Jugman, that were made music, and I was like, and I vlogged, and I was like, you know, like, kind of got a little record label going on here in a little sense. So I started like drawing, and like I always drink water, so like water was there, and I was just like, water wave, like water's the new wave, like of like becoming healthier and whatnot. So I was like, it's kind of like a little double meaning here and whatnot. So I started drawing like the water bottle and whatnot, and then like directly after that class I went to the computer lab and made it. And then I dropped out of college that fall. I went for one more semester because that was my freshman year. I came back first semester of sophomore year, and everybody that I had met in college, we dropped out of college and moved to Dinkytown. So I went to school with the idea of I want to own a business. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna do a business major. I played football in River Falls, and so did a few of the other guys that we started Waterwave with. And I came up with that idea in class, presented it to them. I was like, yo, like, I don't know what this is gonna be, but like, I think if we start with like just like vlogging our studio sessions, interviewing as many rappers as we know, like at that time I only knew probably like 5 people that made music, so it's like I didn't know how big it could get. Because I'm from Mankato, went to River Falls, never spent really any time in the cities at the time, so I didn't realize how big it was. But then we started taking trips from River Falls to Minneapolis like once a week to interview people or to just like go shoot photos at a concert that we heard of, that we got someone replied and said, yeah, you can get a media pass and whatnot. And we realized we're like, we all have our own creatives that could build off of this brand. So we dropped out, moved to Minneapolis, and planned on going to like MCTC, similar story to like yours, and then I ended up just not going because the classes weren't ready, and it was just kind of a good excuse to be like, oh, I don't have to go this semester, and then just never went back. So yeah, school is definitely like a good tool, but only use it as long as you need to. Yeah. I'd say like if you're fortunate enough to where your family is like wealthy enough to pay for the whole thing and whatnot, like definitely take advantage of that.
Take advantage.
But like if you are in a point where you have to pay, $1,000 out of your own pocket, like obviously in loans and debt over the years, like definitely just go for the time being, meet the people you want to meet. And as soon as you find that group of people you like and you learn those few things you have and you see some progress or some love, ambition for what you want to do, you don't need school anymore. Okay. Like you obviously like a backup plan to get a job would be cool. But like if you spend 4 years, like right now, if something happened with Waterwave where we just stopped, we didn't do Waterwave anymore, I would like to think that I could probably get a marketing job or some type of like graphic design job, video job with a big company, because I've been doing this for 4 years now. It's like I basically have a degree. So like you run your business for 4 years, it shows some growth. Now you can basically get a job doing what you did for this business, for a business that needs help in that alley. So it's not, you have to work harder for sure.
Facts.
For sure have to work harder than just going to school, but yeah, like that's pretty similar story, pretty similar opinions. It's kind of pretty similar. Do you think the clothing game is a little saturated today because of how many more brands are making clothes? And just like I'd say even like on our ends, we sell vintage clothing. You go on Instagram, you'll see so many ads for vintage looking tees. It'll be like $12, and it's just a brand new tee with a vintage print on it, and people I see people rocking it all the time. Or even like out of Target, they'll sell the reprint Led Zeppelins or the whatever it may be. And like to me, that's like, damn, like the clothing game has become so saturated that people don't even realize they're wearing a knockoff of an original 1985. So like, and then even like V-Lone, how they were so popular, and then they started doing the artist collabs where like V-Lone was the super sought after cut and sew, super high quality brand, and then all of a sudden they start doing these artist collabs where they got the Nav V-Lone, the Pop Smoke V-Lone, Juice WRLD, Young Boy, all these collabs that they're doing, and it's just a Gildan tee where you can see the tags cut off with the stamped tag in the back, like a day one beginning of a clothing brand. Yeah. So like, I guess where do you think the state of people building up brands is at right now?
Honestly, there's a lot of places you could say, but I would just say either LA or like a New York, just because those are where a lot of the bigger brands are, like American wise. Yeah. Like a lot of people. Do you know Round 2?
Yep.
Yeah. See, like I like using his story too, because that's someone that I knew of during school, that I was doing research papers on. Even Ben Kicks too, is that his name? Benjamin Kicks.
What does he say? Business is
booming. Yeah. People like them. Like I did research reports on them, and like what is similar to both of them, they went to Los Angeles, California. Like that's where a lot of their stuff blew up. So it's just like I would honestly still say California's got it, because even like I'll use this as an example. When I lived in California in 2014, did you guys know Lyft and Uber?
In 2014,
I was just starting.
I was
the first. I was literally one of the first people to see that. I came back home. Oh, you know what Lyft and Uber is? They're like, what the hell is that? Yeah. So that's why I say California, because a lot of this stuff pops off there and then slowly migrates back over. And then even with New York, they host a lot of the fashion and stuff. So I would say they're more fashion, and then California is more like production, the hype, exactly, the clothes, and like. They have that on lock, just because there's so many people, and when something hits wind and it's popular out there, it's like a wildfire. Yeah, literally.
And I don't know if they have different laws out there, but like that whole I forget what's a street. It's like a certain street in LA where it's all just manufacturers and blanks.
Yeah, the work district.
Yeah, I went there one time. I did a vlog with Jeremy from Hybrid Nation, and he showed me kind of around what was going on, and it's just warehouses full of blank tees, blank hats, blank hoodies, and you have to have a certain license to be able to purchase it or whatever. Like usually most brands can get that as long as they have an LLC and whatnot.
Or they want their EIN number.
Yeah, like some shit. Like it's super simple to get as long as you're an actual business. Like they're not just letting anyone walk in there and buy a hat or whatever. But so like I think that kind of like leads into why there's so many brands coming out of LA and whatnot, because you can literally walk out of your house or take a drive down to the district at 30 minutes from your crib and buy all the supplies you need.
Because they got the demand out there.
Yeah, and then right around the
demand.
corner, you can take it to the other shop, and they can press it for you. And in a week, you have your whole drop.
all set up for
Yeah,
you.
and in Minnesota, you either have to take that trip to LA or you have to order from overseas and like let it come into you and hope that it's all good to go.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's a little bit harder. Like if it was as easy as it is in LA, I think like in every other state, you may see a lot more brands coming out.
And I totally agree with that, because in LA, like you just said, you can just walk in there, like as long as you fit the credentials. Like we don't really have places like that out here, so prices are gonna be very high. That's why a lot of people from Minnesota get overseas, you know, just because the currency difference and all that.
Yeah,
So,
and I mean, I definitely think that's why you see the whole game being saturated.
Yeah.
Because us, like, smaller brands, smaller designers, local designers, it takes us 2 extra weeks to get the shit done. But as soon as you put a T, it could take, like, Target a couple days to produce it. And now they're pushing it out everywhere, and you're still trying to, like, get your blanks to float back in from China or whatever it is. And it's just tough to start off small when the whole system isn't set up for you to just like push it out as fast as you may want. I think that's why Los Angeles is such a hub, and that's why New York just can't really take over those trends, because the whole city is designed to push out these clothes real fast. When you control that game, it's just kind of like a catch-22. You start a brand, but you don't have it being set up, so you have to travel to Los Angeles. Now they're back in the map. Or you have to go to New York. Now they're back in the map, and it's just like, dang, like, can I just like showcase my brand without having to go through like all these other people? And it's just like, dang, like they can really take me over in like a week if they wanted to.
Yeah.
If they like your design, they'd be like, well, we got things right here. Like, why would I go to you when they can just pull up to Los Angeles 5 miles down the road and get the same stuff? And it's just like, yeah.
because at that point they're just buying for the brand, you know, like they see the vision. So like I feel like you are right with the saturated part, but there's not with clothing. But there's not a saturation of brands. You know what I mean? Like Waterwave.
Yeah.
Like you sell clothes, you help with music, you do it all. You're not trying to limit yourself.
Yeah.
Which I feel like a lot of these brands do. They're already limiting themselves.
They realize that there's a lot of competition in every alley. So if you can take a piece of every alley, then you may thrive over a couple brands in each of those alleys. You know.
Exactly. And it's just like if you look at all the big brands, they don't just say they make one thing. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's crucial when you're first starting out, don't limit yourself and say, oh, I just make streetwear, or I just make gym clothes, or you know what I mean? Because it's like you can expand to much more than that. So don't sell yourself short.
That's why we literally a couple days ago we just took the word Minnesota out of our bio on Instagram because
I like that. I never put Minnesota.
Yeah,
in my bio.
because when I would say like our motto, we definitely for the past 4 years it's been only thing we're pushing is Minnesota. But then like there was just like a realization I think I had just like one day, and I mean we've been thinking about it for a while, but one day I was just like, you know what, like why can't we be just like the next like Say Cheese or
You know
DJ
what I mean?
Vlad or you know like a No Jumper, DJ Academics, to where we're talking about the whole country. Now you know we're almost at 10,000 followers, but I'd say probably 6 to 7 out of that 10,000 is from Minnesota. So it's like how do you like we're not growing, we're not helping the scene grow at all by only Minnesota people following the Minnesota shit. We need to talk about what's going on around the country so that people in other states see, oh, Minneapolis artist just dropped this right next to Lil Baby just did this, or Drake just did that, or you know Destroy Lonely just dropped that, and all of a sudden they see Minneapolis artists next to all these other ones and they think that they're on the same pedestal. So it's like it's crazy. The first day we did it, we posted probably 5 posts, and one of them was a Milwaukee artist. Some funny shit. He had Lil Frank. He had a huge chain. I don't know if you've seen that one. No. And there was, of course, someone had to post in the comments, "Oh, you could have posted about a Minnesota artist instead." Like, bro, like what? Like one post. Like this is one Instagram post out of probably we have like 3,000 posts on our page. Like that. We just posted about like someone else that wasn't in Minnesota, and there's already someone butthurt because we're probably not talking about them or something. Exactly. You know, like it's just crazy how it looks. So I literally made a video. It's just to explain the vision to the people that don't understand. But I mean, it's been happening. Like we've gained like 45 followers in 3 days off of just like doing this new format of like of breaking news, or like this just happened, or this person just dropped. And I'd still say 90% of it has been Minnesota, and the other 10% has been like the stuff you'll see if you follow like the big brands and whatnot. But if we can kind of jump into that crowd of like we just post 10 posts, 5 to 10 posts a day about what's going on, who's dropping, but still focus on Minnesota, but gaining that whole countrywide fan base is huge. And
but the way you did it in the beginning, though, that's how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to use where you're from. You know, but then like you said, once you hit that level where you're like
we haven't
running
grown,
tracks in the circle,
like we're growing like at a rate of probably like 1 to 3 followers a day, or maybe let's just say like 10 on average a week. And when at one point when when we first started, we were getting, you know, fucking 200-300 in a couple weeks, or 200-400 in a month. It was growing at a super fast rate, but now I think we kind of hit that like plateau of like everyone that's in this scene is tapped in. So how do we get
The
more?
other scenes,
How do we get the people that don't give a fuck about Minnesota artists, but they care about what Drake's doing, so that they follow us? But then all of a sudden, the next post they see this person dropped from Minnesota, and they check it out. So it's like a mind game, basically. You're just fucking with people.
So key in business.
But that's good though, because you're trying to just do, like you were saying, more than just Minnesota. There's more
Yeah.
news outside of Minnesota, and there's people from Minnesota that are doing things outside of Minnesota.
Yeah.
So like, I definitely like that idea, because we need like an outlet. Like, we don't have an outlet besides the news, like, really out here.
Yeah, and the news doesn't talk. Obviously, like, they have a lot of shit to talk about, but they don't necessarily bring up new creators. They talk about a lot of negative stuff, or like what do you say, like government stuff, like schooling,
Or police shootings,
police and
stuff.
whatever is going on in like the real life, not necessarily with the creative world, because that's just not what they think sells headlines at the end of the day.
They just want controversy.
Yeah,
usually with the
because
news
that's what's going to
and
get them website clicks, which is going to get them more ad revenue. Like, at the end of the day, the news sites are a business too. They're not, their morals aren't any different than any other business. At the end of the day, like, they're going to talk about what they think they want to talk about. Is there any other like brands you've seen kind of doing their thing that you like fuck with, or that you want to collab, or that, I don't know, have you collabed with? I know we did our collab.
Yeah.
That's been someone actually posted a video of them wearing that the other day. Abraham Westland, I think was his name. Shout out you. He posted that like in a song snippet. He was wearing a jumpsuit. But have you collabed with any other brands out here?
honestly, I've like talked to a few people, but like I was saying, like with how certain people move, it's just kind of weird, because it's like, even if I'm reaching out to them, it's kind of like I was saying, the egotistical thing, like, oh, well, he wants to work with me, so I'm better than him. Like, that's how people think. So for me, I've tried to reach out to a few, but nothing really ever happened besides obviously our collaboration. That was fire. But other than that, nah, not really. I've had people ask me, like a lot of people ask me, but I would go see their page and stuff, and it's like, I'm not collaborating with someone that's not on the same level as me, you know? So like, I have a lot of brands that are either the same level as me or better, you know, and I see their work too. I probably have a piece. Like, I buy a lot of people's clothing, which is kind of dope actually. But I know there's Opinion. I've been following him for a while. That's pretty dope.
Your guys is ironically could kind of go together really well, because you guys, I think he does like a dot or two in his brand, and you guys do the dashes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I fuck with Nolan from Opinion. Their stuff is fire.
Yeah, his stuff's fire too. I've seen Hibernation, but I don't really know them like that. But their shit's fire too.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that Big Havoc?
Blind Havoc?
Or Blind Havoc, or no, I just seen his stuff, and I was like, that's crazy, because his stuff's fire.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
fire.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you were just saying, where are these brands, bro?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy that now that I've been more into the fashion scene, I've been seeing like a lot more brands and stuff. I know there's what's the name of the other brand? There's a lot. Oh, Angels Fly North.
Yep.
They're pretty fire too. Create. Have you seen Create before? Kahari, Carter. It's one of those brands. Yeah, no, it's called Create with a K. That's pretty dope too. There's I think The Truth. Have you seen The Truth? They like sold hats in Mankato, the football players. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with those.
Yeah, they had a good brand too. Just trying to think of the top of my head. There's a lot of other brands. Yeah, I can't really think.
But yeah, I know like a couple that are really killing it in the city right now. Like, I'd say like the Hibernation and like Lamb Chops are like stamped.
Oh yeah, Lamb Chops
like
pretty fire.
Two
too.
brands that are
For
kind of
sure.
stamped, that are like they're always gonna sell well. Like, they're likable owners. Their brands are very well done, good quality, good cut. Like, everything is just to a T, and they kind of got in their gears are turning to where like they're kind of stamped. But a couple people that have been killing it in the scene recently is Wavy with the trucker hats.
Yeah, Wavy.
Like,
yeah, I have a hat
everybody's
from
got
him too,
a
actually.
Wavy hat in the city, it seems like. And then like Captain Rebel is like, they kind of, it seems like they're pretty
Yeah, I've
close
seen
together.
his.
Like, both of them are like, they I would say like you could tell that they're more of like designers. Like, they're putting time. Like, you could say like Wavy is busting out a bunch of hats, but each one is different. So it's like he's like, it's not like he just made 1,000 of the same hat. Like, but each one is different. So
Yeah,
it's
he
like
found his niche. You know,
like literally
just ran with it.
Yeah, and that was gonna be like my next question for you is like, do you have like that staple item that that sold a lot, or that you see a lot of people repping more than other?
I would say probably just the hoodies,
Okay.
just because those always did super well, and I always got a few hundred of those, and they're always like gone every time I order like a hoodie collection, just because of the way I source my material for it, and just like the way I put my designs. Because starting out, I didn't want to do too much with like the logo and stuff. I kind of want people to just see my brand, like see my saying, you know, design the future. Like that can mean a lot to somebody, you know, just the way Nike, like that's kind of where I got my like lingo for. I wanted to make a 3-word, you know, small, like quick little saying that leaves people thinking, because just do it. What can that mean? Okay, just go to work, just go get this workout done, or, you know, finish this project. Like it can mean a lot, you know, but using the word design the future, that can make creating something, making a blueprint for something, or just envisioning something, you know.
Facts.
Because everyone's a designer. Like you're a designer, you're a designer, I'm a designer. Like we're all designers. It's just, what are you creating?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be physical, you know.
I feel that. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Any words of encouragement for anybody out there? Any shout outs before we send off the podcast?
I just want to shout out to everyone that's ever supported me with design. You know, I respect y'all, I support you too, and just know big things coming. We got our show coming October 20th at 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. at Union Depot. Just words of encouragement to everybody is, man, keep doing your thing. But at the same time, you're going to hit that point where you need to realize what you need to do to really change and level up. You know, don't ever feel stuck. You know, like always try to do something new, and, you know, always be willing to work with other people, because like I said, you do not know who you're talking to sometimes. You know, you never know who actually wants to do good. And 9 times out of 10, the people that are going to help you have no idea who you are. So I think people got to realize, like you were saying earlier, you can't expect everybody that you know to like just support you.
Yeah.
You know?
Anything out of you?
Dang, how do I follow that up? I mean, it's the same thing. Just be consistent, be resilient. There will be super low lows, super high highs, but as long as you're consistent, you're good. Definitely know you can't do this shit alone. Trust the community, build your community, enjoy what you're doing. I think these days, I mean, me personally, I'm sitting there burnt out trying to get all the emails sent. I sit back and I'm just like, dang, like this is exactly what I prayed for. Like this is like I'm actually in the blessing right now, and it's just being able to just enjoy what you're doing and just be consistent, and things will flow. And pull up to Union Depot October 20th. Got some big things coming, some big collaborators, contributors. And yeah, thank you, Waterwave TV. This has been
Shout out Waterwave, man.
for real.
Shout out Waterwave.
Appreciate you coming in. You can follow them on Instagram for all you audio listeners. Visual listeners, you see it on the screen right now. But for all your audio listeners, it is _D_E_S_I_G_N on Instagram, or probably look up design. You might find it on there, but if not, just type it in exactly like that and you'll find it. You can follow us at Waterwave TV on every single platform, at Waterwave MPLS for our clothing store. Shout out to Northern Chill. You can use our code. Let me make sure I do this right, so I don't give you the wrong code. Code WWTV20 for 20% off on any cases of water on northernchill.com. It's the best water in the world. It's really fucking good. You don't want to miss out. Alkaline water, 7.8 pH. Come shop with us, 152 Como Avenue, Southeast Minneapolis, Minnesota. We sell vintage shoes, hype wear. We got exotic pops.
Dessert.
We got a studio in the basement. If any of you make music and need somewhere to go, we got a bunch of dope engineers. Shout out Design. Chris and Isaiah, appreciate your time coming in here.
Thank you.
It was really hard. Every time I looked at you, I just seen Wizard Raph every single second. I'm like, I'm out here talking. I'm out here talking to you. I'm like, damn. Like every time I look up, I'm just like, this looks just like him.
Yeah.
If any of you know who that is and you're watching
that's
the visual, you may have been thinking the same thing
Wizard
the whole
Raph.
time. But if not, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But shout out to everyone that's watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, 5-star review if you're on Spotify or Apple. Yep, we're out. Peace.
Peace.